Hey there, beautiful souls. I have a very special message for each and every one of you guys, particularly those of you who are really looking at what's going on around the globe. My condolences, my heart goes out to any of you guys, or just for being a human being and seeing what's actually going on around the globe today, with Afghanistan and everything that's happened there. It can be really disheartening with the world seeming so chaotic in so many different ways right now. And my hope is that the message that I have to share with you guys today, which I find to be extremely empowering, will help to serve you, to help make sure that you don't fall into the trap of feeling helpless and depleted, and instead you actually feel empowered. You can actually see a pathway forward, and by doing so you're actually able to step into a higher level of your power. And today's message is one that I've been personally living in my day-to-day life. Most recently, I've been going through massive growth, like more so than ever in my life, right? So that's why I'm taking quite a bit of time outside of getting outside into the external world. I've been doing a lot of internal work and really holding that space for myself, and I'm coming up with a lot of really empowering pathways for my own personal growth, and I know it's going to relate to you guys as well. So I feel really called to get on here and share this one with you guys because it's very inspired. So as usual, I definitely want you guys contributing to the conversation. So let me know that you're here. Give me a shout out, say hi, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. Any questions, any comments, any words of wisdom that you want to contribute to this message, please do share them. Don't hold back. We love your contributions. That's what these messages are all about, is co-creating an empowering conversation. Talking about the stuff that actually matters and becoming the leaders that we each individually can become. All right? And we're destined to become, actually. All right, so today's message is going to be an empowering one for all of us. I'm going to bring it back to kind of this masculine, feminine conversation, but basically it's really looking at all of the world's problems, chaos, all of it. It's all related to what we're going to talk about today. And like I said, we're going to bring it all the way back to you as an individual and what you can be doing to actually access and own your own power. All right. So I hope this is very enlightening to you. And before I jump in, I just want to say a quick shout out to Bill and Victoria, who I can see. I can't see everybody else, but thanks for saying hi, guys. And make sure you guys are contributing. Always love seeing you guys. All right. Awesome. So today's particular message is masculine sexual transmutation and feminine connective reintegration. All right, now it sounds all technical, but I promise you, bear with me. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about in a way that can resonate with you no matter where you're at, and basically give you some steps for empowerment. So always starts with awareness, right? And so today, I really want to bring it to where our power is and what's going wrong in the world, right? So when we look at the world's problems, I can see it, and I'd love to hear from you guys as well, where we can see kind of this collective misguided energy distribution, basically. That's what it's about. It's all a power game, right? So we can see, in places in our world where there's a really big difference between those who are really disempowered and those who hold the power. And the more extreme that division is, right, the more chaotic, the more inhumane it all seems, right? And then in parts of our globe where the level of power is more balanced, we tend to be operating in more humane ways, right? In more healthy ways. But I don't care where you are in the world today, wherever you think you're in, this really, luxurious place, or you feel like you've got your full freedom, like we've all got this chaotic experience going on, but it's playing out with different flavors, all right? No matter where you are in the world. I'm right here in Melbourne, Australia right now. We've had over 200 days in complete lockdown here in Melbourne, and our lockdown's just about to get extended more and more. So I don't even know if I'll be able to go to a restaurant till Christmas and all the rest of it, all the conversations that we can get into around that. But I'm not going to go there today. What I want to do is bring it back to the awareness of the concepts of power. And this is something that I feel is deeply unconscious to most of us. And we can be incredibly well-intentioned, but very misdirected in how we direct our own power. And I want to break it down between the masculine and the feminine. Okay, so and given we've had many conversations around this, and basically we know that we have both masculine and feminine energies within us. It's not just men are masculine and women are feminine, but the large percentage of men are more masculine at their core, and the large percent of women are more feminine at their core. All right, so just use these terms loosely and see what resonates most with you. But basically, what I'm talking about is our inability. We're either blocking or misdirecting our energy. Now, what does that look like? Now, I'm looking at men's power actually being their sexual energy. All right. Now, just bear with me. Keep an open mind with everything that I'm talking about. Of course, women have sexual energy as well, right? But what I'm talking about is the overwhelming majority of the population of men having higher levels of sexual energy. And you can just look at the biology. There's higher levels of testosterone, right? And then women's energy, I'm looking at as more of a connective energy, right? This very loving, wanting to bring people together, wanting that connection, longing for that depth of love and connection. And that's really where their power is, okay? Now, what's happened is when we do not own, right, and recognize our own power as a strength and the gift that it is, when it is channeled healthily, then that's where our problems arise, okay? And I'm going to break it down with the masculine and the feminine. So men's sexual energy, right, that is where their power is, okay? Now, look at it this way. So throughout the ages, right, we can look at, why it is that when women and men and women collectively can be looking at sexual energy, and particularly the higher charge of sexual energy that men have, as a very scary, destructive energy. Because if we can look throughout history and to our current day right here, right now, we have been misguided because we haven't had as many representations of healthy masculine energy, right? And so what we see as that over-sexualization of masculine energy, right? Like, we see it as this destructive force because it's been channeled in very destructive, unhealthy, unconscious ways in our past and in our current day, unfortunately, right? Where we see that, men have raped and objectified women and children and other men, right? And we can see it as we need to shame people about that, right? Like your sexual energy is a bad thing, right? And so what's happened is those men who want to be a good person in the world, they want to have loving relationships with women, and they have also maybe had role models in their lives who have used the masculine destructiveness through their sexual energy, right? And they don't want to be anything like that. What's happened is these men have actually lost their backbones, basically. They've blocked or they've either blocked their sexual energy completely, and they just end up trying to operate in this very feminine realm, and they've lost their backbone. They might have a big heart, but they've got no real backbone and strength to fall back upon, right? And therefore they can't really stand on their own 2 feet, and they look and seek to the feminine to, fulfill them and accept them and validate them and make them feel okay, right? And we get that needy dynamic. Or we've got men who have seen what happens when they either see men as being weak with no backbone, right? And that can be a terrifying place to be, right? And so they end up, instead of losing their backbone, they keep a really strong backbone, but they lose their connection to their heart, right? Because they think that if I'm weak, I'll I'll get attacked, I'll get abused. So I'd rather be the abuser and be safe with that, right? And so then we see men who've completely gone to sleep and closed off their heart, and they've got that strength, but there's a real emptiness, and they can't keep themselves from being destructive in different ways, right? That they don't feel necessarily proud of, right? And so what we see is, like I said, men with backbones and no heart, or men with hearts but no backbone. And neither is healthy and neither is safe. Both are misguided, and it's really because of having poor role models of the expression of masculine energy that's destructive rather than creative, right? And either blocking that connection to their power and their sexual energy, or misdirecting it, right? And thinking that they need to be the one in power. Okay, so both are really destructive. Okay, now let me flip it over to the feminine side right now. I'm just painting the picture of what's destructive and how either side of the spectrum isn't healthy. They're both out of balance. And then talking about how we can integrate the two as an individual so that you can show up as the leader we need you to be. All right, whether you're a man or a woman, right? It's about this integration of the heart and the backbone. So for women on the other side, their power is in their connective energy, right? Their depth of ability to love, right? And accept and include, okay? And their challenge, right, in society, just like men's sexual energy is shamed and denied and used destructively, women's connective energy, where their power source is mistaken as a weakness and being devoid of value, right? Oh, that's weak. Like your emotions and your connect, you got to win at all costs. And it's about your intellectual intelligence, right? And all this sort of stuff that we're taught throughout history. And also the fact that, women have been physically oppressed by the destructive masculine energy that has been operating throughout our history, and their survival mechanism and pattern has been to go to sleep to their own needs, to their own truth, and to accept and to just kind of play the game of being kind and being nice and trying to mitigate the abuse that they receive from misdirected masculine energy, right, in its unhealthy place. So they become the unhealthy feminine, right? And so basically it's the same thing. Some women will just drop their complete backbone, right? They'll just be all heart, no backbone, no strength. This is where we see, things like Stockholm syndrome, basically, where the abused fall in love with their abusers. They've just become completely accepting of poor treatment, right? And completely powerless to do anything about it, right? And self-deceptive to, they just think they're in love and in this connection because they're wanting connection so badly, but it doesn't have a backbone, right? Which is necessary for its health. So it ends up being an enabling kind of pattern of all heart, no backbone, which just enables the unhealthy aspects of the masculine, particularly those ones who are using it very destructively, to try and get some sort of power, but in this very unhealthy, very enabling kind of way for both parties, right? And then that's one group of women. And then the other group of women, they completely close off their hearts because they've been so hurt and they don't want to open themselves up to that objectification. And all they have is a backbone. So they're cold, they're completely disconnected from their power, but they're falsely pursuing power with this more masculine backbone, right? And they're negating the feminine power that is available to them, okay? So if we can see that this is at play, right? This is at play on within ourselves, right? We don't own our heart and our backbone and integrate the two, right? We're either all heart or we're all backbone, right? And it plays out in our intimate partnership. We oftentimes attract the opposite, right? And if we're in an unhealthy dynamic within ourselves, we tend to attract our reciprocal, right? So we're creating these very needy relationships that we are basing on, this very fantasized kind of Disney kind of love, or a 1950s kind of love for a lot of our generations as well, and so we end up perpetuating the cycle of this, enabling each other to stay in these unhealthy dynamics, and we really need each other to show up, because we're not showing up either with strength or with heart, right, in our intimate connections. So that's why we need each other, but we're not fulfilled by each other, because we haven't done the work inside ourselves to fully integrate the heart and the backbone. So we're needily seeking it from somebody who we think can give it to us, because they seem to have an oversupply of what we're missing. But the truth is that they can't give to us. We can't actually experience love. All we're experiencing is attachment, because we're not whole within ourselves. And if you're not whole, you're depleted, and you're trying to get something from the other person, and it's not about them, it's what you're missing, right? And so you feel like you've got so much to lose as well, because you're not generating what's missing for yourself. And so we feel like we need each other, but we're not fulfilled by each other, but we're trapped with one another. All right, so looking at that, and then basically what we want to see is, okay, where am I on that spectrum? Am I truly at my core a masculine man who really needs to shift my relationship with my sexual energy? What is my relationship to that? Have I been taught to deny it? Have I been taught to block it? Have I been taught that it's destructive and something to be ashamed of? Have I been taught that I need to use it at all costs so that I can protect myself and mitigate any other abusers coming towards me? I'd rather be the abuser. What is your relationship to it? Now, any of you guys who haven't read the classic book of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I really invite you to do that, and in particular focus on the chapter on sexual transmutation. I found this morning a brilliant, very in-depth article about this topic for any of you, particularly men, who really want to look at how can I utilize my sexual energy as a power. And basically it's converting that sexual energy and redirecting it for a higher good. And that's available to you. And that is what converts the excess of sexual energy and converts it into power that you have that can be directed for the good, right? It can be directed creatively and intentionally rather than destructively, because anything you push down and block is going to come out in some negative ways, right? And I deal with so many different men, and all throughout my time as a coach over these past 8 years, I've dealt with so many men who have a really unhealthy relationship with their sexual energy, right? And it's about rewriting that, right? And rechanneling it so that they don't go to sleep to it and they don't misdirect it, but they fully encapsulate their own power and consciously channel it in a creative direction at a higher power, all right? And for a higher good. Okay, so there's that. And for any of you guys who want access to that article that I found today, I will send it to you. So just drop me a comment or shoot me a message and I'll send it over to you guys. And then for women, all right, so this is about your connective reintegration, all right? You need to own that your power is your love, right? But you can't just be all heart with no backbone, because you'll be abused and you'll just accept abuse. The world absolutely needs you to own your power, all right? You own your power of connective love with strength and setting a higher standard for the quality of connection that we should be sharing with fellow human beings. And the way that you can do that is exactly what I have been doing intensely for every single day for over a month with real clarity and direction. And I've been kind of unclear fully on this, but I am fully experiencing what it is to redirect that beautiful, connective, loving energy that you so easily share with everybody else in the world and reintegrating it towards yourself. Without your reintegration of your own connective energy, right, you don't have a backbone, right? So you won't be whole, right? You won't be unified. You won't be able to use your power for good. You won't be able to become the leader that we all need you to be. All right. And so your pathway, like men's, is the sexual transmutation and rechanneling their energy with consciousness and creativity rather than destruction. For women, it's the collective reintegration. It is about directing that love that you give to your loved ones, your partner, your children, right? Your friends, like the community, whoever it is, you're redirecting that and receiving it for yourself. You must create the loving relationship that you can so easily have that with other people. You have to have it within yourself, or you have no backbone and you have no power. All right. And you are setting yourself up to unfortunately be abused. All right. By the destructive masculine energy that is absolutely present in our world. Men, remember, there's so many of us, we haven't really been given, a large amount of really healthy men in their strength and women in their power as well, right? We haven't really been given that. We've seen weakness on either side, and basically we've seen the weak masculine basically it's gonna both masculine and feminine, whenever they're in their weakness, they're not integrated with their heart and their backbone, right? We've got lots of men and women who are very heart-centered but no backbone. They have no ability to step into their full integrated power. And we've got lots of men and women as well with a real big backbone, but they're cold and they've got a wall up to their hearts. They're not able to access and receive the love, right? And so we need to take the onus back on ourselves. It's real easy to see all the destruction, the chaos, the devastation, the inhumane practices that are going on in every single country has got this going on. We've all just got different flavors of it, right? And it's really easy to find and see all of that. But if you actually want to make some sort of change and not just fall into a helpless heap, you have to look at yourself. You have to bring all of it back to yourself. How is the world a reflection of what is going on within me? What triggers you the most? And channel that back towards yourself, right? And I'm telling you, the answer is your willingness to do this work for yourself, knowing and trusting that everything that you most yearn for is waiting for you, but the pathway is inward before you can have what you most desire externally. All right. And take it from somebody who has tried to skip over the process of this internal work at the depths that we all absolutely need to, and want to just jump to what I want in the external world quickly, right? And it is exactly like my last message that I shared with you guys about the butterfly's process of transformation. If you cut open the chrysalis too early, all that falls out is soup, right? The caterpillar is completely dissolved, but it hasn't yet reorganized and integrated, right? And so you're in a process. You have to give yourself that time to stay in the chrysalis, go in the chrysalis. Believe me, I know the fear of loneliness keeps us separated from doing that, but you're going to be always lonely if you don't have a strong, solid foundation of relationship within yourself. And honestly, I have to tell you guys, like what I've been doing for myself over this past month, honestly, I have created what feels like heaven on earth, and ain't nobody else doing that for me. It's my relationship with myself. All right. So I'm telling you guys, from doing this stuff myself, and working with other people with this, like both men and women, like there is so much power in this, and it is the way. So don't let your fears override what's possible for you. Okay. This is about your loving empowerment so that you can show up as the leader that each and every one of us need you to step up and be. All right. So that is my message for you guys. I definitely want to check in with you guys now. So definitely drop me some comments. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. Questions, comments, words of wisdom that you want to share. And please do share this message with other people that you know can benefit from something like this. We all need to wake up, and we all need to take ownership, and we all need to get out of these misguided beliefs that have kept us from owning and consciously directing what our true power is. All right. We've got so many limiting beliefs and, concepts that are just so misaligned to the true nature of who we are that we have to start with the awareness. All right. So that's my message. All right. Let me check in with you guys. I have got Bill in the house. Good to see you, in Victoria, and Jonathan. Hello to you, and Lucy. My dearest Vanessa, how beautiful you are today. Thank you so much, Lucy. Lovely to have you here as always. And Michael, yes, I'm loving that this is resonating with you. And Daryl, hello from the Great White North as usual. Much love to you, my friend. And looking very elegant. Thank you so much. And Michael, wow, excellent. I'm so grateful that this message has resonated with you, my friend. Grateful to hear that. And Jose, yay. Hello, Vanessa. Wow, the lockdown really is taking you in deep thoughts. I don't know how true is this. The only thing that women can't forgive from a man is a weak man. A man with almost zero masculine power, a man with weak decisions, or a man with a wobbly character. The power of walking away, or the power of staying and protecting the feminine partner. I'm not meaning by this to being afraid of love, but being afraid of your sexuality in favor of yourself and the others. Okay, that's a big message, and I hope that I've understood it correctly and can respond well for you guys and for you, Jose. So basically, I really believe that men and women need to work together, but the problem is we're seeking each other too soon, all right? And so we're all in this weak place, and there's two versions of weak masculine, just as there are two versions of weak feminine, right? Like I've articulated, weak masculine energy is all heart, no backbone, or all backbone, no heart, right? Both are weak. None of those is stronger than the other. We think, or those men who take on that role of having the strong backbone but no heart, they think that's stronger. It's not. All right, it definitely is not. Both are weak, both are out of balance, just as the feminine, who is, all heart but no backbone and just accepts abuse, is weak, just as weak as the other side of the feminine, which is closed off completely in the heart, prison walls around the heart, and just all backbone and criticism, all right? And, a lot of shame directed at men, all right? So both sides of those equations are weak. And what happens is it's part of the human experience that we end up in a sense of weakness. It's part of the development. You don't just get born strong, right? And just like the butterfly, the more it struggles to soar off the top of its chrysalis to get out into the world, the stronger it is, the greater its lifespan and health is, right? The same is true for us as individuals. But I know my pattern has been to jump to wanting the masculine, right? Always being in relationship, right? And always seeking what was missing within myself up until now, right? I realize I've gone through that experience so many times. I realize it doesn't get me anywhere, right? And, my personal journey has been having a father who all backbone, no heart, right? And seeing how destructive that was, right? And how he wasn't able to deal with his own pain and just projected his pain onto everybody around him, everybody walking on eggshells. And then that was like, my masculine wounding, right? With what happened for me. And so what that led me to was basically seeking out partners who were all heart, right? And they didn't have a backbone. And I was seeking safety, right? Women really are seeking safety. And I thought, if I get the opposite of what I saw as destructive, that means safety. But what I found time and time again with every one of my partners, yes, they had, an open heart, but they had no backbone. And that was terrifying, because when a partner they're not whole, they're not unified, they don't have a heart and a backbone, man or woman, they need you to sacrifice who you are to fulfill their needs. They need you to go against your needs when they conflict with theirs. They need you to sacrifice your authentic truths so that you can be who they need you to be in order for them to feel okay. And it's never sustainable. All right. So it ends up being a very dangerous place. And basically what women need to do is generate their own internal safety. And the only way that we can do that is basically by reintegrating our connective energy towards ourselves and developing and really strengthening that love so that we can have a backbone and a heart so that we can let men channel their sexual energy, stop shaming them for it, stop being terrified of it, allow them to transmute it into more healthy ways that they can't do when they feel ashamed of it, right? And that's their job. It's not up to women to make men not ashamed of it, right? But we can support each other, right? And we need to give each other the space to be able to focus on the strength that we both need in order to get to the place we all want, right? Which is that integrated depth of connection and love that's truly healthy, all right? And so, you know, men need the space to be able to own that, transmute that sexual energy, to be a force for good, right? And have heart and backbone fully integrated, just as women need the space to reconnect and reintegrate that loving relationship with themselves so that they can have the power to hold the bar really high in terms of the quality of connection that we as human beings are capable of, and holding a loving standard of that. All right, we need to rechannel our energy towards our own relationships with self so that we can get that heart and backbone fully integrated, and then actually be a team that enhances each other's lives rather than depleting each other's lives and never really getting anywhere. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Jose, but you got me on a rant. I hope it was valuable. Awesome. And Bill, you need to channel the energy of sexual transmutation into pursuing your goals. Your desire for what you want must be greater than your drive for pleasure right now. Abso-friggin-lutely, Bill. So well put. Totally. And that's the problem, right? When men are ashamed of their sexual energy, right, they feel consumed by it. They feel controlled by it. And it ends up coming out in destructive ways that perpetuate, just like either maintain how things are or feel destructive, rather than creative. Like, that is where your power is. And if you can harness it and channel it towards your goals, like Bill is saying, with consciousness and creativity, like, that is what we need you to do, right? And that in turn allows the women in your life to feel safe in your presence, right? Then get genuine safety with you, because you have got a heart and you've got a backbone, and neither one is unhealthily taking over. All right. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts there, Bill. Yes, Victoria, it's all about balance, abso-friggin-lutely. But, we can't if we're in either side of the spectrum, all right? And don't be misguided thinking that one of these weak places is stronger than the other, because I guarantee you they're not. So anyway, we need the integration of both. We need to meet in the middle, absolutely. And Victoria, I've been realizing that I'm needing to get back to connecting to myself and being centered. I get busy and end up losing balance in my life. My husband and I were just talking about how we connect so much better as a couple and individually when we are each balanced and grounded. Boom. Absolutely. And, I love that you share this experience here, Victoria, because that is what we want in our partnerships. We want to give each other the experience of, particularly when we are coming into a relationship and needy, right? Because we've got a void that we're not taking responsibility for, and we're trying to seek it to be fulfilled by our partner, and we attract each other with the over exertion of what we have, and the emptiness that we also have. They have an over, what's the word? Oh God, I'm losing that. But they have too much of it, right? And not enough of what you have a large amount of, right? And so what we need to do is gradually like recognize that, own it as the human experience, right? Nothing is wrong with you guys. Nothing needs to be fixed. We just need to look at what that is. And then we need to gradually have the courage to put the focus on ourselves where we need it, to empower ourselves and, reassure each other that, hey, I know you might not like this, but this is what feels most healthy for me, and I can see you're going to benefit for it, right? So give me this space to do this work and then experience it, right? And just like Victoria has articulated now, right? Like it's basically that you can see that the more connected, the more you, Victoria, are connected. I know all your beautiful processes, your yoga, your meditation, that time you take out to recenter yourself, then you get to bring the more of a whole self to your partner, and he gets to experience how much better the connection is, right? And vice versa. So I love that share, Victoria. So universal, basically, but we need to give each other the space to be able to have those experiences. And so many of us are too fearful and too needy and fearful of what we can lose that we negate those experiences, and we're not able to step into our power, and we just go along with that fulfilling the voids but not feeling fulfilled, right? So I love that. Thank you so much for showing up and sharing. And Dennis, I'm late. We'll listen now. Good to have you here, Dennis. Hope this message really hits home for you. And Jose, yes, thank you. Vanessa, sorry for my complicated questions. I'm not weak to saying sorry. I love that. Very strong. All right. I love it. And Data, fully embodied living, that is the way. You got it. Abso-freaking-lutely. And Bill, where's the star button? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I am actually on my personal profile because something's gone weird with my business page. So I didn't want to get that in the way. And so I'm on my personal page, so I don't have stars, but I appreciate that you are seeking them out to support me. You are so generous and so appreciated. So thank you so much. And Alex, good to see you, Alex. Withholding emotional connection for need of certainty around safety, demanding the heart and not being vulnerable with your own heart, and expecting fulfillment of the security that is sought after whilst distancing and scaffolding other options for someone that has been 100% for you hurts. Absolutely, Alex, and I'm always saying, if it's love, it doesn't hurt. What hurts is when we're in our fears, all right? And our fears are what perpetuate that, withholding and keeping the options open and all of that, right? And so the way out is to connect with the self, right? And to operate in alignment with who you are most proud of. And it's going to take a lot of courage, right, to be the leader of love in your life. But I guarantee you, the moment you choose being the leader of love with courage in your life and not letting fear win, it doesn't matter. Like, what other people choose to do with that can't hurt you. What hurts you is when you're operating from fear and holding yourself back, all right? Or putting yourself in circumstances that are abusive, all right? It's all coming from fear. That's what hurts, all right? So you need to find the love within, step into the leadership position and operate from that place with courage. And then whatever anybody else does with that actually is just a reflection of who they are and where they're at. And you'll actually get to a place where you can have a lot of empathy for them, no matter how they react. Because you'll see it as an expression of the fear they're in and no longer having any personal bearing on you because you're operating from your essence. All right, so there's a lot in that. I absolutely love your share here, Alex. I hope you're doing amazingly well. Good to see you, and loving that this resonated, Victoria. Yay. And Data, respect for each other's unique needs in their journey is vital as well. Beautifully put, absolutely. And I'm very grateful to be on this journey with you. We've been doing a ton of this, so I love that. And Bill, you know what? It is freezing outside today, so I don't think I'm going to be getting out too much, but got some nice weather coming up, and even though we're in lockdown, I'll be fully making use of all hours I'm allowed out of the house. Love having you here. And Alex, thinking that someone wouldn't do you like that because of your own heart. Thanks, miss you too. Oh, I love it, Alex. So yeah, so this is the other thing, right? We have, I would want to take the onus back on myself, right? If somebody did something to me, and I've been in that situation many times, particularly in friendships, a lot of my friendships before I was in personal development, really, a lot of them ended at this same point where I basically realized I would do more for them than they would do for me, right? And I was like, oh, well, I don't want that relationship because they obviously don't care about me. But when I've gotten in more reflection and personal development around it, you take more and more responsibility for it and asking myself, why was I continuously attracting people who weren't treating me as well as I was treating them? And basically it came down to me needing something from them, me needing some sort of validation from them, and putting myself in less than perfect or abusive dynamics, right? Less than loving dynamics. And it really was because I had all the heart but no backbone, and I was attracting people who had a lot of backbone but lacking heart, right? So we're always going to attract our reciprocal. So taking the onus on, if I want to attract some different people into my life, that starts with me. All right. Like that means I've got to look at what am I attracting? How does that relate to how I'm showing up in the world? And what am I going to do about it? Right. The balancing and the integrating of our heart and our backbone. It's going to be different for men and women, but we can also utilize both aspects, right? Because remember I said we all have masculine energy, we all have feminine energy, but the overwhelming amount of men are more masculine at their core, the overwhelming amount of women are more feminine at their core. And so we have these powers in excess that we need to harness by owning, accepting, acknowledging, loving, and honoring, all right? And fully stepping into the processes of either sexual transmutation, if you're more masculine at your core, and connective reintegration for all of you who are feminine at your core, all right? Making sure that you don't just have a heart and no backbone, or big backbone, no heart, right? We need all of us in our power, and the only way to do so, and the only way to have an impact and transform and evolve our current state of chaos in humanity on all these different levels, is to take the onus on you, right? We have to start from the inside and work our ways out. And if you're not taking ownership of yourself and you're just trying to, perpetually change the world, right? It doesn't work. You're actually being an unintentionally destructive force in the world, all right? So make sure that you channel your energy in the right direction. It starts within, channel it out, all right? So it takes a hell of a lot of courage to do so, a lot of energy, but trust me, as somebody who has tried to skip over that work so many times and had to learn the hard way and pick myself back up and, feel depleted and losing myself. And, I've learned now, finally, I got the lesson, and I'm stepping so much further into my power than I've ever had in my entire life. And I invite you guys on that journey too. If you ever want personal guidance with that, that is what I am here to do, to help you to become the leader that you are destined to be, get you on the right pathway, get you listening into all of the answers that you always have within, trusting it and moving and being guided by that. All right. So that's my work. That's what I love to do, and I'd love to hear from you guys who resonate with that, and anybody who wants that article on sexual transmutation so that you can really get a handle on it and get some direction with it, just reach out to me and I will send that over. And Melkor from the Philippines, hope you're doing really well, my friend. Hope this message serves you. And Alex, I stepped into transforming that only backbone energy into only heart for a bit. Yeah. Great point. We can so go the pendulum, right? Because if we're so open-hearted and we get hurt, we end up thinking, I'm going to close my whole heart off, right? And we just become a bit of a hard ass, right? And with that backbone. And the same thing can happen in the other way. We've lived as such a big backbone and known that that hasn't worked. And so we start opening up our heart, and the pendulum swings in all development. So give yourself leeway with that process. If you've always been in your heart, you're going to have to step into the extreme of the backbone in order to build that to an equal strength so that you can fully integrate in the middle. And the same is true if you've been with the backbone and you need to go all the extreme with the heart. And I see this time and time again. People who've had very strong backbones and isolating themselves have no boundaries with their hearts and emotions and end up going fully swinging into the other unhealthy version. But it's all on the way. Just give yourself that process, right? And I've definitely seen it the other way with all hearts and swinging all the way to the backbone, and just know that that's on the way, right? Remember, we have a codependent relationship with the one side, right? Then we swing to the opposite end of the pendulum, right? We go independent from that initial codependence with the heart or the backbone, whatever we started with. And then we build that, the opposite side, and then we realize the next level is basically the integration of those two, all right? And so that's basically, we wake up and we go, oh, we need both, and both are called for, right? Rather than only this way or only that way, only heart or only backbone, all right? So love that you're on that journey. That means you're another step ahead of the game, right? And switching to the two, building them up equally, integrating them, all right? So you can be that leader. And Mel, okay, I'll call you Mel. Love it. And Patty's here as well. Patty, I know you're just joining now. I hope you catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And like I said, please do share this message if it is of value to you guys. So much love for each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for showing up, for contributing to the conversation, making it through a message like this. I hope it has been empowering for you. If you'd like any deeper insights or that can apply to you personally or support on that, you can always reach out to me. All right, best way is by email, vanessa@vanessajanepatrick.com, or shoot me a message, but somehow let me know, drop me a comment or something. All right, because I don't always check my messages on Messenger. All right, that is it from me today, guys. So much love, and I will see you guys very soon. So make sure your pathway, if you really want to, if you're sick of seeing the chaos in the world, you want to create some loving order, right? Then I really invite you to come onto this process of integrating your love and your power, all right? Your heart and your backbone, all right? And I forget who says this, but it's, the soft front, hard back, all right? So open heart, but strong backbone, right? So I hope this is value. And Melkor, thank you for your unrelenting power towards us. Oh, I love that compliment, and you're so welcome. Thank you for showing up and giving me a platform to have these kind of meaningful conversations with you guys. So much love, and I'll see you guys very soon.